Hey everybody, welcome to a Wedding Wednesday Cricut craft tutorial. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos all the time, and hit that bell icon because that will alert you to when I post a new video. Today we're going to do the reverse canvas wedding guest book. This is so much fun because you can make it really personalized to you and your husband and your wedding theme. So in this case we are doing an adventure theme, which I love. I think this is one of the coolest wedding trends that have been out lately. So you can do a lot with an adventure theme, but this one we used a design off of Design Space Access, and I'm going to show you how to do this in two separate colors, and I'm going to show you exactly how we assemble this. So let's go over to Design Space and I'll show you guys how we can get started. So over in Design Space, I just pulled an image off of Access. It's free. I just thought it was really cute, and it actually goes a lot with some of the other wedding trends this year, which have been like adventure trends. So travel, mountains, things like that are very, very trendy. And that trend's been going for a while, and I'm kind of surprised it's still a thing, but it is very trendy this year. So what I'm going to show you is how to do this in two different colors, because I kind of want it to look like a globe in a way. But as you notice, you can't ungroup this one with the way Access has it. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate it. And I'm going to move one over here because we don't need to see that one right now. And I'm going to put this one up in the corner, and I'm going to click on Contour. What I want to do is get rid of the words and so the begins. Now I will say that Design Space has updated today, and it is a little bit slow and funky. So if it's not working great, I'm just going to have to kind of maybe mess around with it a little bit. But this might show you guys just a little bit on how we can fix it when it's being a little bit touchy. Sometimes, especially with the contour, you'll see where it's gonna decide it wants to just make its up whatever it wants to do. So you sometimes just have to click things a few times. I would almost bet on the fact that the T and the H are not hidden right now. And so then we're going to leave Adventure because that is going to be another color. And we're going to do the N, the G, the I, the E, and then the B. And I guarantee the B's middles are going to be funny because that's just what they do. I don't know why Design Space is set up this way, but it makes me nuts. So we're good here. So go ahead and click that off and just make sure that everything is missing. And then we're going to do this one. So let's move Adventure over because we don't need that anymore. And we're going to move this one over. And I'm going to contour out the word adventure this time. We're going to do adventure. So let's wait a moment while this thing loads. Again, it's been a little bit slow. A lot of times when it updates, it's usually slow the first few times you use it. It's just a Design Space flaw. So with this one, it's going to end up giving us all the centers of our letters. So you're going to want to go through and just click out all of the letter centers. And the little loopy centers, and just make sure that is all hidden. And we're going to leave and so begins. So here we're going to leave that. Now I'm going to do this part in green. So let's just go ahead and change that. Now they have moved things. If you guys watch some of my old videos, I tell you to do your colors over here, but now your colors are over at the top. So I'm going to do this part in green, and I'm going to do this part in blue. So I'm just going to pick two different colors. And I think that's really cute. And you guys could always add your names or whatever you want. But for this one, we're just going to do it this way. So the next thing is I know we're using an 11 by 17 canvas to do this. So let's make an 11 by 17 template. And I want to make this template so that we can see how big we want to make this so people have room to write around it. So what you're going to do first is unlock your square. And I know that I'm going to use it so it's going to be taller than it is wide. So it's going to be 11 inches wide, and it's going to be 14 inches tall. I feel like that's going to give people a little more space to write, and I think I'm going to like the way that looks a little bit better. So I'm going to send this to the back, and I'm just going to zoom out a bit so that we can see everything. Now what you can do is you can group this together so that you can move it as one piece and get an idea of how big you want it to be. Now obviously how large you make it is going to depend on A, how much material you want to use, and B, how many guests you have. So keep that in mind when you're leaving space on your canvas as to how many guests you have coming to your wedding. You don't want to make it huge and take up the whole canvas if you have a lot of guests, and you also don't want to make it too small so that there's a lot of empty space. So I think this is actually pretty good for the guest amount I'm making this for. So it's about 6.5 by 6.5, I believe. Yeah, just about that. So I think that's pretty good. We're going to go ahead and click Make It, and we're going to use Iron On. So here it shows us our green portion, and then I'm going to click continue, and then this is our blue portion. I didn't mean to click continue yet, but what we need to do is click cancel really quick because I messed up and forgot one step, which, oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times we have all done this as cricketers. So go ahead and click make it. Let's try this one more time. And you're going to turn mirror on for both of your items. So mirror your blue and your green. And make sure you know which one's cutting first. In this case, it's the green. Make sure your machine is on. You're going to load your vinyl, and we're just going to load it shiny side down. Again, with Design Space being so slow right now, I am not going to show you guys me cutting it because it's going to take forever, and it keeps doing this. So you guys know what it looks like to cut. When we get it all weeded, I will show you. I've weeded our HTV, and upon further thought, I said, what the heck, let's make a reverse canvas. Now, I'm one of those people that I do not remove my staples. That's a pain. I'm lazy, and I'm not doing it. So what I do is I'll usually take an X-Acto knife or a pair of sharp scissors, which these are super sharp, and I will just take along the edge. And I get as close to the staples as I can, and I just go along the side of the staples, and I just cut the canvas off. The one thing I will tell you is make sure you take into account, if you intend to make this a reverse canvas, the amount of space that the frame is going to take up when you do this for your design. Because I didn't intend to do this, and I should still have plenty of space. It's a small wedding, so it's not a big deal. And all else fails, you can always use them for something else within your wedding. So as you see, I just run my scissors along the edge of the staples, and I get, like I said, I get as close to the staples as I can. I just want to make sure I have enough canvas to work with, and this little corner's folded up, so let me carefully unfold that. Now do this carefully. Do not cut your fingers. Keep your fingers away from your blade. Don't do what I just did. And what we're going to do is just peel off our canvas. Now be careful not to rip it. If you have like a spot where you missed cutting, you can just cut again. Now don't worry that you've put like dents into your frame, because you're going to cover those up, because we're going to stain the other side of our frame. Now right here on the corners where we've got some thicker material, this we may need to either cut several times right on top of itself, or once we've peeled up all of our canvas, we may just be able to trim it right off. So it shouldn't be a big deal. So we're going to get this trimmed off the rest of the way. Let me just get this little edge here that I missed. And once we've got the canvas removed, and you can always, if you can get this stuff off, you can just pull it right off. You don't need to keep it on there. There's no need for it. You just want to make sure that you're careful not to rip the canvas that's actually going to be on the front portion of your frame, because when we attach this again, we're going to just attach it right back to this side. So don't worry about that. So I'm just going to peel all this off, and that'll help get some of the stuff off. So yeah, this part, this is like the easier way to do a reverse canvas, if you ask me. I don't really like having to take the staples out because it's too much. Too much, folks, too much. I do have this sitting on top of some flour sack towels, just so that I don't accidentally stab my table, because this is an IKEA table. Hey, look, one of the staples actually came out. That's shocking. Usually I can never get them out. It's going to be like the one time like all the staples would have come out really easy. But don't worry about this side, like I said, because we're going to cover that side up. Nobody's going to see what is on this side. So I wouldn't worry about it if you're, like I said, if you're cutting into your frame a little bit. So we're just going to run some quick stain over it. I think we'll just do gray because I think that'll look really nice with the blue and the green. So we're not going to do anything too crazy, but we'll do some nice gray stain on the other side of the frame. And I'm trying to get this peeled off so you guys can see the frame. But you can see how easily this goes. I mean, it's really pretty quick. It's not a long process. It's just a matter of just being careful not to rip your canvas. And look, see, again, another staple came out. Now also, I will say, I don't like doing these because the staples are very stabby, and I always am afraid that I'm going to stab myself because I am a known stabber. So there we go. So this is the side of the frame that we're going to use. You can see it's in much better shape. It's not perfect, but once you stain it, nobody really notices that it's not, 100% perfect, and it looks really nice once you put your canvas on there. So what we're going to do is you can either put it on like this sort of off-white side or the full white side, but because this is going to be a guest book for a wedding, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I do in fact put it on the white side, because I'd really like it to look nice and fresh. So what I do to center mine is I will take it and put it right back on top of the frame, just so that I have a nice border to work with. And then I just use my eyeballs, and I eyeball my stuff. I don't typically measure anything. I'm not big on measuring. Doesn't do it for me. So we're going to set that down. Let's go over to the heat press and we can get this pressed on. So what I do is I slide my canvas over my base panel, so the bottom panel, and I just slide this right back in. Mine has a slide out base, which is really nice. This is just a 9 by 12, I think. And then have your Teflon sheet. I really need to get some magnets to hold this on, but it pretty much holds itself on for some reason. And what we're going to do is press it for about 15 seconds. You can use the timer on it. Most of them, it's just hit the down arrow to start it. I don't always use the timer. I probably should. But we're going to let that heat for just a minute, well, 15 seconds. And once the timer goes off, you're going to lift up. Now, this particular brand of HTV is from Amazon. Not my favorite. I don't hate it so much anymore now that I've kind of learned some of its little nuances. So it's easy to weed, and I will give it that. But it is a cool peel, so it's super hot right now. So what you need to do is cool it off. Now you can do that. I usually will keep like a piece of cotton fabric. This is just some like random leftover stuff from something else that I did. And you can rub that right on top of this. And it just sort of helps get some of the heat out without burning your hand. Because some of the coolness of the fabric will actually cool off the HTV. So I usually wait until it's cool enough that I can lay my hand on it. And if you need to, you can unfold your fabric again and just touch it with a cooler side. But be careful when you're doing this, because obviously this does get pretty warm. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can get this peeled. Not always easy. But you'll see. And the green is stuck. So we'll move the carrier sheet to the side. I do save my bigger carrier sheets. Like that one's a pretty nice sized one. So I'm going to save that one. And I totally just kicked something. This is why I can't have nice things. And then we're just going to line up our adventure part. And this one's a little kind of more of an eyeball it as well. And there's totally a piece of hair under this. If you are a person who has pets, I will always say check your HTV carrier sheets for any hair that might be on them, at least under the vinyl portion. Because if it gets stuck under the vinyl, it is not coming off. And there's totally, I have to undo this because there's a piece of dog hair under this. I tried really hard not to get any dog hair on this, and it failed. Probably because I moved it a couple times. But yeah, be careful if you do have pets, because the hair will stick under here, and nobody wants hair under their HTV, because you can't really get it off once it's on there. So we're going to lay that down. Now there is a piece of hair here, but it's not under any of it. So just make sure that you have your adventure where you'll want it. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So again, Teflon sheet, and this time I'll just pull it off so you guys can see. Teflon sheet, got this at Amazon. We're going to go ahead and press it, and we'll do the same thing. Press down for 15 seconds. We will also need to let the next one cool. And as soon as that timer goes off, we'll go ahead and pick it up, turn the timer off just by pressing the down arrow again. And again, we're going to let this cool. Now with this one, again, we're just going to use this cotton sheet. This is just, like I said, cotton fabric. The nice thing about this is you just lightly and very gently have to rub it on there. And it just pulls some of the heat off just a little quicker than it would if it was just letting it cool by itself. So I just think this adds a little time. So now it's cool. So we'll go ahead and peel this back. And there is our finished iron-on for our canvas. So this is what we have so far. Pretty easy, pretty simple. But we're going to attach the canvas back to the frame, but we'll go over and stain the frame really quick. So today we're going to just use this gray stain. It is just classic gray from Minwax. Super, like a light, nice gray. It's nothing too crazy. I like a good gray in my life. So we're just going to dab. I'm using just a piece of t-shirt, an old cruddy t-shirt, and all we're going to do is just wipe on our stain. Now we can do as many coats of stain as we want to. I just have this propped up on my table with some old wood that I'm not using for anything. And all we're going to do is just make sure that we get the stain into all the little crevices. And I am wearing a glove on the hand that I'm putting in the stain with the rag because I really don't like having stain all over my hands. So just a quick tip, if you don't have a glove, you can always just wrap a plastic bag around your hand. And that will work just as well to keep the stain from getting all over your hand, which I find awful, and I hate smelling like stain. So for me, I just prefer to do it this way. Now, I will say, if you get like a corner like this right here, you can try to like shove the little corner of your t-shirt right on in there, but if all else fails, I may just take a little brush and brush it in because nobody will see that little corner. So all we're going to do is just apply our stain. I may do a second coat just so it's a little bit darker. I don't necessarily love how light this one is right now. I may just do another coat or two, but I'll let you guys know how many coats I end up doing on this one. But I'm just going to try to get in that corner. And like I said, you just want to make sure you get all along these edges right here, so like right along these ridges. And then you'll want to get the edges of your frame. So you want to get the inside and then the outsides of them as well, because people will see that part. So any part that anyone is going to see, you're going to want to make sure that you do, in fact, stain it. So when we come back, I'll let you know how many coats I did, and we can put the canvas onto our stained frame. We're ready to staple on our canvas to our frame. So all I did was just trim a little bit of the edging off of the canvas, and I'll trim the rest off once we've got it on. And I like to make sure that mine is even, like this direction. So I lay it flat down on the table and then I put the frame on top of it. Then all I do is slide it to the edge of the table, hold the canvas down, and flip it over. And I'm very careful not to move the canvas. Now my lovely assistant, my husband, is going to use the staple gun, partially because I can't press it down. And what we're going to do is staple the bottom row first. So we're going to do just the bottom. And then while he staples along the bottom, we're going to just make sure that we make sure our canvas is nice and tight. I will say it does help to have a second set of hands when doing this, especially if you want to make sure that your canvas stays nice and tight. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn it and have him scoot into the frame just a little bit more. And we're just going to make sure that our canvas is pulled tightly. I'm pulling from the other directions while he staples. Alright, we're going to go ahead and finish stapling off camera, and when we come back I'll show you the finished product. Here is our finished reverse canvas guest book. This is such a fun, easy project, and you can make it super personal. So I'm going to get you nice and close until you can see the green and the blue. I just think this is such a fun, creative way to have a guest book at your wedding, and you could use Sharpies or fabric markers to have your guests sign this. I'm going to show you the back of this. I'm just going to lay it down really quick, and you can see that we have stapled it and then just trimmed off the excess canvas. Once everyone has signed it, I will add a little sawtooth hook up here at the top so that you can hang it. It's really easy to do, but I don't want to put it on until after the guest book has been signed, because that way it's not pulling on the canvas at all, because when you lay it down on the table, your canvas will be flat on your table. This is just some, again, gray stain. This is just one coat of the gray stain. I think it looks really, really nice, but you guys can stain yours to any color that you want to match your wedding theme or colors. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos all the time. Hit the bell icon because that will alert you to when I post a new video. Have a great day and happy crafting.